Hi, everyone. This is Paul Hopkins here, Director of Acquisitions at CPI Capital. I sometimes get questions about crime in certain areas, and when we look at properties, how do we determine what the crime is? More specifically, Atlas at Bay Point. I've received some questions about, how does the crime look? And sometimes when people go online and they start looking up crime statistics online, they may not like what they see. Sometimes it's a lot of bad information that's out there. And the reason being is because it's free information. Most of the time, free information is usually outdated information. And the best information that you can get is something that you pay a subscription for. If you don't want to pay for a subscription, you could always reach out to brokers or lenders, or even your insurance provider, and they could provide you with reports that are a little bit more accurate, and that they're paid subscriptions. So I just wanted to kind of highlight a couple of the websites that is kind of popular out there and what people look at. So this is Crime Grade. This is a free website that a lot of people go to. And if you look at the entire Tampa MSA, for example, you do see some red spots. Red meaning that the crime grade is F, and green being A plus. So looking at downtown Tampa, it's some red. Even in St. Petersburg, where our property is located, Atlas at Bay Point is located down in South St. Petersburg. And if we were to zoom in on South St. Petersburg, for example, and where the villas at Flagger Point is, it's ranked at like a C or a D minus. And again, this is free information. It looks bad from the surface when you're looking at this, and may not have all the answers for you. To give you another example, I grew up in Denver. And I grew up in Denver, and I actually lived in Boulder for a number of years. And Boulder is probably one of the safest places in all of Colorado that I would choose to live at. And if I even zoom in on Boulder, it looks like a war zone, just from this rating. I don't know where they're getting their statistics from, but it looks awful. It doesn't look like a place that I would like to live. However, it's a very safe neighborhood, a safe city, and lots of people living there. And you can see that these green areas are very rural areas. What's surprisingly is Netherland, which is a small town, and nothing really else around it. It's seeing a lot of red. So take it for what it's worth. So what I tend to do is reach out to our lender and also our insurance provider to, kind of give us, an overview of what they look at. And this is something that our insurance provider gave us. So this is a crime map that they pulled together, and it's the most recent crimes over the last year. And there's only a handful of them: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 crimes over the last year. And they involve a traffic incident, some vandalism, fraud, motor theft, fraud, vandalism, burglary, and then a weapons violation. And you're like, whoa, okay, a weapons violation. Where was that located? It was on the highway or roadway. So then if we go right here, this is where the weapons violation was, on the highway. Our property is located right here. So you can see that there was something that happened right here. And this was like a fraud crime that happened. So overall, yeah, things happen. Crimes get reported. Things get reported. But if you look at this, this is showing me that there's no concern in that this is relatively a safe neighborhood. Another thing that you could actually look at is a statistic that I usually like to go to is citydata.com. And if you go to citydata.com and you look up St. Petersburg, and what you do is you scroll down to what's known as the crime rates or their crime index, the citydata.com crime index. In St. Petersburg has a crime index of 296.7. This is really good compared to many other primary and secondary markets across the United States. When we look at markets to invest in, we want to look for markets that have a crime index of 450 or lower. And we also look for crime indexes that are decreasing year over year. So you can see that in 2016, between 2015 and 2016, the crime index was around 450. And then it has been decreasing ever since. This is just showing that there is positive results happening in St. Petersburg as far as the crime. So do this exercise yourself, check out other cities too, and just, see what the crime indexes are in those cities. So as I always say, there's an inverse relationship to crime, and that is education. So as long as you have a really good education system in an area, you're going to have less crime. So what I use is I use niche.com, and it ranks some of the best schools in certain areas. And so what you can do is you enter in the zip code, and it will tell you the best schools in that zip code area. And you can also view it on a map. And when you view this on a map, you can see here that it pulls up some of the best schools that are all in St. Petersburg. And then you have some A+ rated schools that are in South St. Petersburg as well. So at least the school systems in this area are also very positive. And in Lakewood High School, Lakewood High School is in this area right here. And I had it at one point. Lakewood. Here's Lakewood High School. Lakewood High School located near the property, and it has a B+ rating. So, this is great news for the property and the area. There's great education, which has a inverse relationship to crime. So that's what I wanted to share with you today. So just be careful when you're out on the internet searching up, the crime in certain areas. And like I said, a lot of the information may be outdated. The best sources to get your information from are the paid subscriptions that your lender or your insurance provider can offer you in these free reports. So let me know if you have any other questions, and happy to answer anything that you may any question that you may have. Thanks.